This is Pacific Rim, a Kaiju film from 2013 and one of my favorite films. But more importantly, Japanese animation is known for prioritizing high-quality still images over movement, which is why anime often works on twos from an animated series. And when you start looking at how Pacific Rim presents itself, you'll see it too. So let's break down why this masterclass in visual literacy is actually a live-action anime. The first clue is in how the movie frames its action. Pacific Rim doesn't show you big robots fighting monsters only. It makes you feel their size. But how does it do that? Well, it's not just about CGI, it's about scale. Guillermo del Toro, the mastermind behind this film, is a genius at making things feel massive. Before directing, he worked as a special effects and makeup artist, which gave him an insane understanding of detail.
The first way you can do scale is contact. If you do a close-up in a 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot tall monster, you never get that close. You never get the sense of texture that you get with a kaiju. 8 foot tall monster, you never get that close. You never get the sense of texture that you get with a kaiju.
But there's another trick at play: camera angles. Japanese animation is known for prioritizing high-quality still images over movement, which is why anime often works on twos. Because of this, anime relies on exaggerated camera angles to create energy and scale. And when it comes to giant monsters, there's a golden rule: always shoot from below. And guess what? Pacific Rim follows this rule religiously. Every kaiju and Jaeger shot is framed from a low angle to make them look larger than life. And when Del Toro does break this rule, he makes sure to ground the shot in reality. Like in this scene where a helicopter flies by, giving us a sense of scale. But if you think that's where the anime influences stop, you're mistaken. Because next, we need to talk about the creatures themselves. Now, these aren't just any robots and monsters. They follow a legacy. Kaiju and mechs are deeply tied to Japanese pop culture. While giant creatures aren't exclusive to Japan, the country revolutionized the concept in 1954 with Godzilla, a film inspired by real-world nuclear horrors and an American movie called The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. And just like Godzilla used inspiration, when Del Toro set out to make Pacific Rim, he went back to his own personal source.
I was very influenced by anime, the anime of my youth, Tetsujin 28. I really assembled a group of designers that knew and loved anime.
Many animes influenced him, but he specifically mentions Tetsujin 28. This 1960s anime featured a flying robot controlled by a young boy. Guillermo, born in the early 60s, would have grown up with this exact era of anime. But there's another reason these designs feel so iconic: rules. Because of Guillermo del Toro's rules, every kaiju has a distinct shape that makes it recognizable in an instant. Just like classic anime monsters. Every Jaeger has a silhouette and a personality that fits its pilot. And here's something worth mentioning: anime adaptations. They have had a rough reputation in Hollywood. They fail because they try to force-feed a formula without understanding the genre's heart. And that is where Guillermo del Toro differs. He understands, loves, appreciates, and knows what it is to watch an anime. And he translates that to live action. But Guillermo del Toro doesn't just take inspiration from anime's creatures, he also steals its spectacle. Because let's be real, we're never gonna see real kaiju rise from the oceans. But what anime does best is make the impossible feel tangible. And Pacific Rim takes full advantage of that. Just look at the way the film holds on shots of the Jaegers, giving us time to take in their sheer size. That's something anime does constantly, lingering on mechs and monsters so we can appreciate their beauty and power. These shots cost money. And when I say money, I'm talking hundreds of thousands. But they know it's worth it. And it's not just the fights. The characters in this movie is straight out of anime too. For example, you know that classic anime gag where a character gets so mad that steam shoots from their ears? In Pacific Rim, instead of drawing it, they break a pipe, surrounding the character in steam. It's the same idea translated into a version that live action can make real. Or take Raleigh and his brother suiting up. The slow motion walk, the cinematic framing, the over-the-top mechanical detail. It all looks like it could be ripped straight from a high-budget anime opening. But it's not just the visuals that make this movie an anime. It's the characters' personalities as well.
1, don't you ever touch me again. 2, don't you ever touch me again.
But before the characters' personalities, we need to talk about the soundtrack and what's an anime without an unforgettable soundtrack. The composer behind Pacific Rim created a theme that is instantly recognizable, with a powerful electrical guitar riff blended with orchestral might. screaming larger-than-life heroics mixing with that anime opening styling, with music shifts that effortlessly go between bombastic fight sequences and quieter emotional moments, using leitmotifs to enhance the story. But the characters, oh, their personalities, they sing! Every character, specifically Pentecost, Mako, and Raleigh, are kind of part of a triangle. Guillermo del Toro describes it himself. Stacker Pentecost feels like he's straight from a military anime. Raleigh feels like that off-the-block kid who failed and is trying to come back. And Mako is the unproven hero of the entire film. Just a real badass. I mean, she's an actual strong female lead, something that Disney has been trying and failing to achieve for decades. And Guillermo del Toro wrote this character amazingly to fit that role. And because of these character personalities, which I could go into forever, but I don't have that much time. But I do want to talk about Pacific Rim Black. Now, this is a spin-off offshoot type thing within the universe, but it's not live action like the second movie. It is an anime. Now, this is a great example of how perfect Pacific Rim was as an anime. Because this transition was so seamless, the world felt strong. The fact that Pacific Rim so easily adapted into anime only proves how well it fit into the genre in the first place. Now, I have just mentioned something that you're never supposed to mention. Pacific Rim 2 Uprising. Every Pacific Rim fan knows you pretend it doesn't exist. We do this because the world created in the first film has such high potential for sequels. Guillermo del Toro was working on it and he decided to leave for Shape of Water, which clearly ended up being a good choice based off all the awards it won. But it left an unfinished project that many people messed up terribly, ruining the film. It ignored everything that made the first one good, the heartfelt connections and the unique spirit of anime. All of it was lost. But we're not going to dwell on it, we're going to focus on the greatness of the original. And at the end of the day, Pacific Rim is more than just an action monster movie, more than a kaiju film. It's a love letter to anime. And I know this video might make it seem like I'm stretching things to fit my argument, but go back and watch Pacific Rim with all of this in mind, and try telling me I'm wrong. I think you're going to have a hard time. This was CinemaSnap, I'm SJ, and go watch a movie.